Different types of governments. Different types of governments. What are they? Can someone mention, can you, can you help me understand different types of government? Emmanuel, can you mention different types of government?
Different types of
Government.
we have that is arms.
Yes.
We have different type. We have a federal system, confederation. I think,
Uh-huh.
or should it be the forms of governance? Most sometimes I don't know. You say right? We have a democratic system of government.
Mm-hmm.
We have a monarchical system.
Mm-hmm.
We have federalism.
Yes.
We have authoritarian system.
Uh-huh.
We have oligarchy, both confederal. It's all I like. Take care. What I So we have both unilateral.
Okay, so now, what are the different types of government? Absolute monarchy. Absolute monarchy. You know what is absolute monarchy?
Yeah.
Only the king.
Only the king.
Okay. Then anarchy. Yeah, it is there for political reasons. Nobody is in charge, but it's a government.
Then how would they achieve?
Then you have authoritarian, commonwealth, then communist, confederacy, constitutional democracy, constitutional monarchy. What is the difference between constitutional monarchy and absolute monarchy? Can somebody tell us the difference between constitutional monarchy and absolute monarchy?
Yeah, I think when we talk about absolute monarchy, it's only when what I say, the prime minister, the king, where the king has only absolute power. Huh? King or queen, is all the same. When they have absolute power, you understand? They don't want to even to the interference of the public.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't want to hear anything from the public.
Then constitutional monarchy then?
Yeah, why constitutional monarchy, they work in accordance with the governmental policies and constitution with the public opinion, establishing a little free democracy. Free, little.
Okay. So constitutional monarchy is that is a monarchy is the king will sign certain things, but the parliament are going to be the one in charge. So the monarchy is under the rule of the permanent, under the constitution, what the constitution says, that whatever power the constitution gives the monarchy, that is it. But the other one is that no constitution, the absolute is that is the one that says everything, the one that decides.
So sorry.
Absolute monarchy means that the king, the monarchy, the kingdom belongs to him. He dictates, he decides, he's the one to sign, he's the one to do anything. You don't tell him what to do. He's the real boss, Leviathan. But constitutional monarchy is that the parliament may have put a clause about what king should do and should not do under the constitution. Constitution is guiding the character of the king, the behavior of the king. Yeah. Constitution is guiding it. But absolute, no. There's no constitution.
In my opinion, that's really the case because
what's justified now for best, for the best, the academic? Because in reality, most so-called constitutional monarchies, they don't even listen, they don't even pay attention to that.
That's what it says. That is,
Politics
we are talking about the word here. But what this means is this.
Just understand this concept.
Yeah.
This is what it means. You understand? Then in reality,
In reality, then, even in this country, you know, you cannot step on the monarchy.
I say that the constitutional monarchy, in as much as the parliament has the king still have the final say.
The king is not that he has the utmost, because when you say final say, it looks like it has the utmost power, the absolute power. No, the constitutional monarchy simply means that this law, the constitution, is guiding the behavior of the kings in politics.
For example, they have agreed something in parliament, discussing in parliament. Maybe the part of the king is to take it to the king to sign. But he did not take part in deliberation or whatever. But the constitution says that after you guys must have finished everything, the Senate, the Prime Minister, the king, the President of the Senate will sign, Prime Minister will sign, then another person must also sign according to the constitution, and that is the king. So you now take it to the king to sign. And yet he was not there. And he has no choice.
That means he must be
Yeah, he will be, but his absolute behavior,
Yes.
decision, absolute decision is not there. But monarchy itself,
Correct.
absolute monarchy itself.
Yeah. Pius has used a very nice word. Raymond, give him mic. He has used a standard, the correct word. In constitutional monarchy, there is check and balances. But absolute monarchy, that's a very powerful difference.
Because if you try of the constitution.
Okay, let's move on. Then democracy, we all know what that means. Democratic republic. Dictatorship. Ecclesiastical. Do you know the one that is ecclesiastical? Do you know the one that is ecclesiastical?
Is it the one in the Bible?
Which one the ecclesiastical? Huh?
I think, is it the religious leadership?
Ecclesiastical is the Pope. This one is Pope. Then do you know what emirate?
That is Arabian.
The Muslim. All these are part of government. Because if you go to Italy, Rome has its own separate governance. And then the leader there is who? The Pope. So that's why it's also included here. If you go to some countries also where they're all about Muslim, then you talk about emirate. UAE Emirate or whatever. There are so many of them. Okay, Islamic Republic, yes. Maoism, Marxism, Leninism, monarchy, oligarchy. All these are, many of them, there are all types of government, parliamentary democracy, parliamentary government, parliamentary monarchy, presidential, republic, and then socialism, sultanate, theocracy, totalitarian. Yeah. Are you there? So can you see the definition? Absolute monarchy, a form of government where the monarchy rules unheeded, that is without any laws, constitution or legal organized opposition. Whatever the monarchy says is final. Of course, he's the one that got the country. Therefore, are you there? Anarchy. What are you doing? Anarchy, a condition of lawlessness or political disorder brought about by the absence of governmental authority. Of course, not everybody is in charge.
So that means they won't have a common goal.
Yeah.
But it's a government, a form of government, because there's nobody. It's a state of no, say, lawlessness or political disorder brought about by the absence of governmental authority.
Obviously, like country like Myanmar.
No. Myanmar is under military. Huh?
River State.
No.
Someone is in charge.
No, someone is in charge. That's what they were trying to avoid, anarchy. There's no vacuum. A place, whenever there's vacuum, then you can categorize it as anarchy because they are fighting who will be in charge. At that state of equilibrium, or is it equilibrium or just that state, you can now anarchy. Condition of lawlessness. Yeah. There is in some Muslim countries, you see some of them. Now you might even see it in Yemen. Sometimes Yemen at certain stages is anarchical because they did not allow the one that want to rule, and another one that is not also ruling. So, but that's why I say lawlessness, disorder.
So would I say that in this anarchy, the bone of contention there is personal interest? Like
There's always a personal interest in political stuff.
fighting man.
What do you mean by man fighting man?
There is no common goal. There's no common goal for your community or for the citizens. Just personal interest. Like
There's a common goal now, but the point that this group does not agree with this group. You can see it in tribal something. You can see it in whatever. It happens. They just understand it as a state. There's nobody is in charge. No, it's not difficult. Most countries pass through this before they get military.
But there are other people that are fighting. The military is fighting with.
Yes, now, but military is in charge. So that's the non-state actors.
No, but Myanmar is not currently it's a state of anarchy.
No, it's not a state of anarchy. State of anarchy, there's nobody can hold.
Just experiencing crisis.
Yeah, they're just experiencing crisis. State of anarchy is nobody is you can call a leader, but that place existed and is still there. Maybe it might last one day, maybe 2 days, maybe a week, maybe a month, because of this tribe or couldn't accept this tribe, and at the end of the day, there's nobody ruling the country. That's why I said lawlessness, the political disorder, brought about by the absence of governmental authority.
Okay, listen.
Yeah. The person that was called the leader was not allowed to rule, so the person ran away to save his life and run to another country. So the non-state actors that are very powerful might be controlling for a while. Normally, it lasts for some days or sometimes a year. Sudan at a stage was in that anarchy. It happens. Most countries in the world pass through this.
What about the River State? If the political opposition.
River State is not a different, is under federal. So you cannot use whatever happened there. That is why federal has to use federal might. It is not the same. Because it's under federal, it's just a state. That's why the law made it in that way, that once there's a sign of anarchy, the federal will come in. But those who don't understand political stuff might always say politics. They say Wike is a vesting power. No, sometimes when you consistently disturb a state, the president has the power to come in. Okay, let's move on. Authoritarian, a form of government in which state authorities impose on too many aspects of citizens' lives. They decide when you want to come out, when you want to go to work, the water you're going to use. They decide, in fact, everything is under the way you want to talk. That's authoritarian, mostly military. Then Commonwealth. A nation, state, or other political entity founded on law and united by a compact of people for the common good. Commonwealth. You know, this is from British kind of situation. Sometimes some people, they gather them together and call them Commonwealth. Huh? British. They really tried.
So, Commonwealth.
Not quite, but to a large extent, the effect of it is still there. You know, Thailand is not under Commonwealth. So that's why I cannot practice law here and then use it in the Commonwealth countries. I think it's fading gradually, but the effect of it is still there. Because it's also a politics, you know, United Nations, Britain have a way of gathering its own colonies with that concept. The more I read this thing, the more I feel how animalistic these people take us. These people. Yeah. Commonwealth of the King, Britain. Communism is a system of government in which the state plans and controls the economy and the single, often authoritarian, party holds power. State controls are imposed with the elimination of private ownership of property or capital, while claiming to make progress towards a higher social order, in which all goods are equally shared by the people. Classless society. Which country practices that? Do you remember?
I think any country that's achieved communism
Mm.
on their way.
Which country?
China, for example, Russia.
Yeah, they are tending toward that. Initially, it was that's how they call it the USSR, Soviet Union. But because it wasn't helpful, some people now they started having problem with that. They gathered East Europe somewhere, and then, but America and democracy, they gathered Western Europe. All of a sudden, you know the story of Berlin Wall, huh? All of a sudden, some of them from the Eastern Europe now saw from the other side and see how the people are enjoying life there. But then most of them are in communist side of it. They don't seem to understand what was going on. At a stage, they now came up and then broke the wall. Hey, everybody became happy. I'm very happy that I went there and took a photo in that wall. That's one of the, huh? Yeah, it's now a tourist center. I think I posted the photo when I snapped in that place. It's a tourist center. Huh?
Like the wall, the whole wall.
The wall is still there, but it's not a tourist center. I just passed it. Well, that time I posted it on my system. Passed it and then, but that day it was raining. If you go there, it's a tourist attraction. And you can now see the different at the other side, Yugoslavia or whatever, I don't know, or Latvia or whatever. That's the way how they now came up and saw. Because they build the wall, that the wall demarcated them, so but then they have to break the wall. But they were somewhere seeing how other people are enjoying life, development because of democracy. But they themselves, the other Eastern Europe, were suffering in the name of this. So that's the end of.
But we are, I think it's
Communism. If it's the best, people would have taken it. Democracy is also classless. It depends on how you interpret it. But then getting to this, I don't think people enjoyed it. That's why it never lasted. That's why it never lasted. You may think it's okay in the way you are seeing it, but if it is okay, it would have lasted. Because human being will always go for the best.
I just think why it lasts.
Because of what? What influence like what?
From the West,
What do you mean by the West?
from the US.
But that's what I'm telling you. The Berlin Wall is an evidence because they were not enjoying it. They were suffering because of that. But they now notice that the other brothers over there are driving cars of their own, a lot of development, a lot of empowerment. And that is how they now started protesting and cross over the wall. That is the Berlin Wall, the wall, breaking of the wall.
Yeah.
They have
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you read the document,
Okay, so we get to Federacy, Confederacy, a union by compact or treaty between states, provinces, or territories that creates a central government with limited powers. The constituent entities retain supreme authority over all matters except those delegated to central government. Confederacy. This is how America started.
Yeah.
Even in Nigeria, we are
That is
almost
how
in that level.
Africans-
Huh?
That is how Africa should.
Exactly. So confederation, that is what actually Nigeria should be to make it better. But because of British, they've made it the way it is, and some people are suffering. Some people are giving more power to be the president, and while some people are struggling over it. Because that's why you have states. Those 36 states could be tagged as confederation. Okay. Constitutional, a government by or operating under an authoritative document that sets forth the system of fundamental laws and principles that determines the nature, functions, and limits of that government. Everything is on constitution. Everything constitutional. Constitutional democracy. A form of government in which the sovereign power of the people is spelled out in the governing constitution. Are you guys there? Constitutional monarchy. A system of government in which a monarchy is guided by a constitution whereby his or her rights, duties, and responsibilities are spelled out in writing, in written law, or by custom. You see that? Okay. Any question? Democracy. We all know this one. A form of government in which the supreme power is retained by the people. Oh, this is how they deceive us. Retained by the people, but which is usually exercised indirectly through a system of representation, delegated authority periodically renewed or reviewed. That means voting. But don't forget, democracy. Well, most philosophers don't like it because they say government of the people, majority. What is the content of the majority? You just give people money or indomie.
They don't bribe to get the vote. They vote free and fair. But in Africa settings, we configure our political system now than issuing it to be the what do.
Okay. Okay, we move on. Have you finished?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, now, democratic republic is a state in which the supreme power rests in the body of citizens entitled to vote for offices and representatives responsible to them. Democratic republic. Dictatorship, we know about this one. The form of government in which a ruler or small clique wield absolute power, not restricted by constitution or laws. You see that? Ecclesiastical, government administered by the church. This is an example, Pope. Emirate, similar to a monarchy or sultanate. A government in which the supreme power is in the hands of an emir, the ruler of Muslim state. The emir may be an absolute overlord or a sovereign with constitutionally limited authority. Federation, a form of government in which sovereign power is formally divided, usually by means of constitution, between a central authority and a number of constituent regions, states, colonies, or provinces, so that each region retains some management of its internal affairs. Differs from a confederacy in that central government exerts influence directly upon both individuals as well as upon the regional units. This is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is an example. Are you there? Federal Republic. A state in which the powers of the central government are restricted, in which the component parts, state, colonies, or provinces retain a degree of self-government. Ultimate sovereign power rests with the voters who chose their governmental representatives. This is also part of Nigeria. Uganda, do you share? Islamic Republic, a particular form of government adopted by some Muslim states, although such a state is, in theory, a theocracy. It remains a republic, but its laws are required to be compatible with the laws of Islam. Islamic Republic. About God, Allah. Maoism, the theory and practice of Marxism-Leninism developed in China by Mao Zedong, which states the continuous revolution is necessary if the leaders of communist states are to keep in touch with the people. You see that? Maoism. Do you know the man? Mao, okay. Very knowledgeable. Very, yeah, exactly. Marxism, the political, economic, and social principles espoused by 19th century economist called Karl Marx. He viewed the struggle of workers as a progression of historical forces that will proceed from a class struggle of proletariat workers exploited by capitalist business owners to a socialist dictatorship of proletariat to finally classless society, communism. Okay, that is where it started. Because these people are poor. These ones are rich. And then he's trying to make, these people are trying to find a solution by bringing communism so that there will be no poor and there will be no rich. At the end of the I think he has the memory, yeah. Okay, so monarchy, a government in which the supreme power is lodged in the hands of monarchy, who reigns over a state or territory, usually for a life and by hereditary right. The monarchy may be either a sole absolute ruler or a sovereign, such as a king, the queen, or prince, with constitutionally limited authority. Are you there? Marxism-Leninism, we forgot that one. An expanded form of communism developed by Vladimir Lenin from doctrine. Okay, so we are talking about monarchy, right? And we talked about Marxism-Leninism. Remember what we said, an expanded form of communism developed by Vladimir Lenin from doctrines of Karl Marx. Lenin saw imperialism as the final stage of capitalism and shifted the focus of workers' struggle from developed to underdeveloped countries because he wanted to make them better. So he lifted from those who think they are the gods of the world. You know about this? This is about people believing in their leader. The leader died and they continued with the concept of that leader, that leadership. Just like philosopher. From Socrates to who? Plato. Because Plato was a student of Socrates. And Aristotle was a student of Plato. Yes, and this is why this country, these people appear to be better than us. Because the concept of respect to a constituted authority. It doesn't mean we don't have it. The majority of us, all of you, luckily all of you here are from Africa. It doesn't mean that we don't have it. It is even in our culture. But as soon as religion came in, this white man religion, the first thing is to dismantle our system. Then we started disrespecting our parents, disrespecting our system. At the end of the day, we are still battling over it today. But these people, they never did like that. Respect is reciprocal. Somebody will be arguing with his boss with intention to know. And the boss passed away, he continued from that, continued with his philosophy of life. He may differ from him a little bit, but he will always refer to that his boss. That is why in your IS, they are still forcing you and I to remember them. That is reference. That is bibliography. No matter how you argue, As far as he's an academic, you're expected to quote someone else because it's argued that you cannot stand alone. You should stand with someone. They also brought it from the principle of monarchy. Principle of patriarchic nation. You know what that means? Principle of that you are born in this world because that you had a mother, you have a father. Nobody is an island. It did not just appear in the world. Therefore, they believe that it's the law of nature that you respect somebody who brought you in, including somebody who taught you and somebody who may have in one way or the other enabled you to pass across of a certain stage in life. In their system, they do not believe in use and dump. You have somebody have assisted you, therefore you think you have climbed over, then you check it. Yeah, that is what we have to understand. yeah. Yeah, he has sent you to America, you have arrived in America, fuck off. You don't want to care anything again. And then don't forget in our own system also, I noticed that sometimes, but one thing I realized that people who do like that don't really go far. Even if they do, they get it back because this is the law of nature. That's what I think. Majority, and I think most of you have different, maybe Uganda. In Uganda, is there anything cultural that makes you think if you disagree with your boss, you will suffer? Because my experience of all the Ugandians I have seen in Thailand, sometimes the person that brings them here, they tend to be so afraid. I won't use the word afraid. They tend to be so respectful of the person, even if they realize that the person may have taken their money, they will never say that. Even if they realize that the person, they didn't understand certain calculations, it's not of their business because the person have brought them there. So I noticed this about Ugandans. They rarely challenge their boss. They still respect the person and consider that good he gave to them, he provided for them as the utmost common good. Why is it like that? Because I noticed that in my experience handling Africans. Is it cultural or is just attitude you guys developed?
I think it depends. That was the. Okay, I'll talk for myself.
There is a Ugandan that came here with a tourist visa. Another Uganda that changed his tourist visa in this particular university brought that particular one. Do you know what? Each time I ask this Uganda, they say I should ask this other one. Each time I ask him, I say I should ask, is this Africa or something? Because I never had this kind of experience with Nigerians. Because Nigerians, once you bring them here, either they will destroy you with one form of gossip, or they start to discover one pattern of life they think you are living, and even concentrate on it that they want to destroy you perpetually, that you will never be who you are if you are not careful. Yes. But behold, the Ugandan wanted to change his visa. Everything I ask him, he will refer me to that particular Ugandan that brought him to me. Since then, I started respecting Ugandans. And it's not only that person, it's always common with all of them. Ability or tendency to respect a constituted authority, especially someone that he thinks that enabled him to come over, and he thinks that if there is anything the person may have gained, or if there's anything that shouldn't be the case, because he has come to fight for his own life. So can you just share that?
I'll just talk for myself.
Yeah.
It's more about morality. Because I believe if someone has really done something for you, which is going to put you somewhere, you respect that regardless of anything. Yes, sometimes things happen, things might go wrong, but then you don't have to front the wrong things that have happened. So you have to remember that this person did something for you, which has changed you, or which is going to change you, because you might tend to disrespect this person, and then in future you may need him back. Now, for example, if someone
Guys,
if someone has
guys
brought you
getting something?
here, and it is for the good of you, not of him. It is helping you.
Because I must tell you guys, forget about anything.
Yeah,
This is what I experienced about Uganda.
it is going to help you.
The last thing a Ugandan will do is to talk against his boss or someone that brought him.
So
Unlike what I've experienced from Nigeria, especially Igbo Nigerians.
sometimes things might go wrong, but still, however things go wrong, we will respect that person. You leave whatever has happened, but you still have that respect for that person. Like, you leave the other things and be positive.
Yeah.
Because regardless, you might need that person again.
I know you guys won't understand, because even when I think our attitude sometimes we behave like those who are caused, knowingly or unknowingly, frankly speaking. Yeah, I mean, I must say, just hold on. Just hold on. The reason is because actually, hey, hold it, because I've not finished. No, this is my class. This is my class. Collect. Is that the question of Nigerian defense? Because that is why, whether you like it or not, hold it. Whether you like it or, do you know this country? Now, do you know this country? Do you know this country? Africans are suffering in this country today because of Nigerians, period. Whether you like it or not, Africans are suffering in this country because of Nigerians. As a matter of fact, this police criminal record was never in existence in 2004, was never in existence in 2005, was never in existence in 2006. Do you know how it started? No. They have been trooping in, but you will catch someone, you take him to jail, and then deport him back. Then he's supposed to go to Nigeria and suffer and continue the jail if it is under, what do they call it, bilateral whatever, exchange of prisoners. Yeah. But you know what? Somebody that's supposed to have gone to Nigeria to stay for 8 years in prison, you deported him today. The next week, he's back to Thailand and committed the same offense again with another passport, with another country's passport. Not I say the Google it is there. This is an academic, it's not emotional stuff. With another country's passport. So now, Thai immigration tried, and the police tried that, and they now flat all Africans have to give police clearance. Because in the police clearance, you now come, it will show that you have this finger had come before, gone to jail. I have about 5 of them in this university that when it started, luckily for them, they have finished their undergraduate degree. They now enrolled for master's degree. Then the policy started. They went for police clearance for extension. It came from another, the fingerprint came how he committed, what he committed, and the country passport he carried. About 5 of them, they ran away. This is about facts, it's not about hearsay. So I can then link it with the fact that I have dealt with so many Africans, Somalians, Ethiopians, I mean all sorts of them, a lot of Africans. My dear brother, don't doubt me. There are a lot of differences. And in terms of attitude and behavioral pattern, I think we Nigerians need adjustment. So I think, have you finished or you're still talking?
Yeah, I'm done.
So you see his concept. Why? Because I think that the person that brought him here had done something good. So he wasn't looking at the negative. He was looking at the fact of what he would gain from here and how he would survive. That had been a past. He has to move on with his life. What is your own? Do you have any? Why do you guys behave like that? By respecting a constituted authority, so much so that you rarely see the fault.
Well, I for one, I believe that in whatever situation, we don't have to look at the bad side of someone or because we are all human, we make mistakes. So if you look at the negative side and miss out the positive thing someone has done, then you're not being appreciative. And the way we are raised, to first of all to honor those that the elders. Secondly, to appreciate whatever thing someone has done or given you. Like if someone gives you something, you have to appreciate and say thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Actually, I'm sharing the experience as a person that I've been here, I think for 20 years, dealing with this kind of different African countries. If you just want to learn about them, you can ask me. I will tell you with fact, but I don't know why majority are moving towards one direction, but another country is moving towards different direction. Not only about me, but even among yourself as well. So there's no need to defend it. Even among these countries that are like Nigeria that is moving differently, even among themselves, you cannot see them live in peace. There is the former president of Nigerian Community Association is in jail in Thailand for life. And he shouldn't have been. But just because of the same mentality, fighting each other, and every time see negative, even when the person may have done his best. So it's something that we're talking about types of government. So that's what we just remember this area. You can reflect over it if you think it's necessary for you. If you're Nigeria in this class, if you think it's not that you're tourist that way and continue behaving the way you think is okay for you. Life is freedom. Now we get to oligarchy. Oligarchy is which is government in which control is exercised by a small group of individuals whose authority generally based on wealth or power. Oligarchy. Oligarchy. Few people decided. Pardon?
I said this type of system may fit Nigeria.
Yeah. Sometimes Nigeria is oligarchy, but they don't announce it like that. they use democracy to cover it up. But actually, it's oligarchy. People decide, you vote, and they decide how the vote is counted and allocate the person they want. I think Anambra State will be hot very soon. By the time Dangote, is it Danjuma? Dangote, what is that? A president of APC? Dan somebody. He was former governor of Kano. Danju, whatever. Yeah. By the time and himself and the Osomole, by the time they descend on Anambra State, then Soludo will know that he's gone. They did that in Edo State. That's my thinking anyway. In Edo State, the governor of Edo State ran away at a stage. So, rightly put, a government in which control is exercised by a small group of individuals whose authority generally is based on wealth or power. They just use money, scatter every delegate. Do you remember how the election of Tinubu was done during the primary election? Delegate. Do you still remember for most of you that are? Yeah, bag, And later they will say it's democracy. So parliamentary democracy, a political system in which the legislature selects the government, a prime minister, a premier, or councillor, along with the cabinet minister, according to party strength, as expressed in the elections. By this system, the government acquires a dual responsibility to the people as well as to the parliament. Yeah, you'll be hearing parliamentary democracy. Hello? One of those times I was moving around, I was opportune to be in the parliament of Austria because my friend that was there had some connection, so we were there. You see how they were deliberating, just stay on top and see them arguing. Parliament, they decide. For example, if your party wins the most vote, Then you might also select who will be the prime minister, who the leader of that particular. That is what is done in Thailand.
I think Nigeria once practiced this.
Yeah. Then.
History.
Yeah, before that's exactly. But it didn't work for them or whatever. Actually, Nigeria is not even a good example to talk about all this because it's complicated system. Okay, parliamentary government, a government in which members of an executive branch are nominated to their position by a legislature or parliament and are directly responsible for it. This type of government can be dissolved at will by the parliament by means of no confidence vote, or leader of the cabinet may dissolve the parliament if it can no longer function. Parliamentary government.
What is the difference between this one and the other one?
If you look at democracy, which is very general.
This one is open to the legislation.
Yes. Yeah, and then don't forget this word you used, parliamentary democracy. But this one said parliamentary government. Sometimes they're all the same, but some nuances might be there. This particular one, an executive branch, that's the cabinet and its like prime minister, blah, 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 are nominated by the position to their position by the legislature. At least the Thai government also practice that one, or parliament, and are directly responsible to it. This type of government can be dissolved at will by the parliament.
Because it's by nomination.
Yes, the president of the parliament.
Let's check the other one, the parliamentary. Select. It's almost the same. It's almost the same. The legislature nominate in the other side.
The point is that this is a general talk, but this one is just like let's say particular. But this is just like a general body, a general statement about parliamentary democracy. So which means this one is under this first one. So you see this one as a general statement about that kind of practice.
Okay.
Then you now see this one as form of that one.
Form of it.
So this is a parliamentary government, which is parliamentary democracy. That is the way you can now take it. Okay, parliamentary monarchy again. Remember, it's also not parliamentary democracy. Okay, so a state headed by a monarchy who is not actively involved in policy formation or implementation. That is the exercise of sovereign power by a monarch in a ceremonial capacity. True governmental leadership is carried out by a cabinet and its head, a prime minister, premier, or councillor who are drawn from legislation. King is there, but determined by the parliament. Presidential system of government where the executive branch exists separately from a legislature, to which it is generally not accountable. Is Nigerian legislature accountable to the president?
Nigerian legislature.
Is it accountable to the president?
Yes, no. Because they are practicing. Nigeria is practicing federal.
Yeah, that is the right word.
It's supposed to be a watchdog.
Now, Emmanuel, it's better that you just go instead of hiding and see. Hide and see.
It's supposed to be a watchdog. Executive. Not really their part.
Yeah, presidential, a system of government where the exercise branch exists separately from legislature. Presidential, the president, yeah. But then, to which it is generally not accountable. In Nigeria, legislature, are they accountable to Tinubu?
Current legislators are accountable to Tinubu.
Why? No, but is that what's supposed to be? That is the answer I needed. Because sometimes it's not politics, you know.
It's not
when you groom, for example, I groom you, and then you become part of the politics. You are going to fight, and then for my own interest, isn't that okay? Okay. So now is the public. The representative democracy in which the people elected deputies, not